The tagline is, should you worry about how much you're spurting during sex?
That's the
tagline.
Okay.
I do.
Welcome to the Weekend Fan Club, everybody.
Oh, God. It just repeats. It just repeats.
Can that be the intro theme?
Sucked myself.
Oh gosh.
Well, it's 2018. We made it. First of all,
Barely. By the skin of
round
our
of applause. We made it.
Click the mic.
There you go.
Alright, welcome to the Weekend Fan Club. We are your friends. I'm Connor.
I'm Quinn.
I'm John.
And I'm Jake.
And today I'm gonna come up with...
pulling this shit.
I was talking.
No one in the history of man has called you Jake. Your name is Jacob. You gotta stick with
My
it.
entire family calls me Jake.
I don't believe you even for a second.
I'm gonna take you to a family event, and that will be a glorious
Well,
experience
this
for
was an
everyone.
elaborate ploy to get that to happen, so you gotta be able to follow through.
Oh my.
Today I have a list of things for us to talk about.
Oh, I'm excited.
Very
Okay.
good. So, right before we started earlier, I came up with an easy one because it's the start of 2018 now, and that's Goaty and Odie and Modi.
Oh.
What?
Game of the Year, Album of the Year, Movie of the Year.
Oh, Cody.
I
Yeah.
thought this was like an Ed Nettie situation.
Yeah.
It is, exactly. So, let's just do a little go around. We'll do real quick, I guess. You can just choose one. That's fine, since
Okay.
there's a lot of stuff here.
Just choose one. Get
Game
over
of the
yourself.
Year. I didn't play very many video games. I don't play very many video games, but I really enjoyed Mario Odyssey.
What a stock answer.
Game's good, okay? Like, listen.
Breath of the Wild is overrated. Mario Odyssey's better.
Wow.
I agree.
Really?
That's our hot takes.
Really?
Yeah.
Skrat.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say I'm not a huge fan of Mario games, but like, I will say our Odyssey was probably one of the best ones I've played in
yeah,
a
it was.
long time. It still doesn't beat Breath of the Wild for me. No, I still think that Game of the Year for me is still either a close tie between Breath of the Wild or Persona 5.
Nice.
For sure.
For me, I don't really consider like games for Game of the Year because that's really hard because there's so many good games.
Yeah, same.
But I would definitely say a Game of the Year that contender in my mind that was unexpected was Titanfall 2.
Yeah?
Yeah, I played so much.
Did that come out this year?
It came out next to Battlefield 1.
Really?
Yeah. EA screwed themselves out of a huge profit because they
That came
released
out
it.
2017?
Yeah, they released it next to Battlefield, and nobody cared about Titanfall 2 because everyone saw
I love
Battlefield 1.
Titanfall 2 though. Oh, I absolutely love Titanfall. Titanfall 1 was like the only game I actually played multiplayer and like got like I think I got to like 6th or 7th like prestige or something.
Yeah.
I was like, I played that one a lot.
I think if every AAA developer did microtransactions the way that Titanfall 2 did microtransactions and what was it, Respawn Studios?
Yeah, Respawn.
Yeah. If every other studio did it the way they did, we wouldn't have the debate of the legitimacy of microtransactions because everything was purely cosmetic.
Yeah.
There was no progression. There was no specific items given in the
it was just like,
microtransactions.
here you
It was
go.
cosmetic.
Yeah.
Right?
Nails down, yeah. I hear you.
It was a beautiful, beautiful game.
Cool. Great. Love the debate and discussion. Let's move on to the next one.
Oh my god.
Albums of the Year. Does anyone want to start with albums of the year? Their favorite album of music?
I often go for if someone releases an album that I think is their best work, that usually is the leading contender for me. So like Kendrick Lamar released Damn, and I don't necessarily think it's as good as Pimp a Butterfly, so it's still probably the best album that came out this year for me. But I would also like to shout out to Atone by White Moth Black Butterfly, because I think it was a huge improvement on their first album. And I hope someone knows who I'm talking about at all.
Besides the people in the room.
Yeah.
Man, I don't even know. Hardwired Self-Destruct came out this year, right? Or
Nice.
2017, right?
It was Spicy Meatball.
Pretty sure it did. I liked that. I didn't really listen to a lot of new albums per se this year, but like, I don't want to pick the Baby Driver soundtrack as an album, but like,
But you kind of want.
but I kind of want to, cause like,
Hell yeah.
I've almost like primarily listened to soundtrack music this year between Baby
Yeah.
Driver, Atomic Blonde, and
Yeah,
Guardians of the
same.
Galaxy 2. Like,
an exact same three for me.
it's been a lot of just soundtracks on shuffle.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, oh, this is great.
For me, mine would be... That was bad grammar. I'm really sorry.
That's fine.
Start over.
Logic's Everybody. That album was another concept album from an incredible artist, in my opinion, that is, doing something unique in the hip-hop genre by, being more positivistic and not, solely talking about individualized messages, but group messages, like Anxiety and Black Spider-Man and the Suicide Hotline song. Everybody knows that song just because it punches you right in the gut, right? But there's other songs like Killing Spree that are like gritty and stereotypically hip-hop, right?
See, that's what I like about artists like him, where it's just like you have so much fame and like you have such a huge voice now. You can literally, I feel like that's what, like, I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I just feel like if you have that kind of voice and you can actually reach that many people, fucking use it for good, man.
Yeah, you have a
like,
responsibility.
Holy shit. Like, yeah, you absolutely have a responsibility to do something like that. Like, damn.
Like, imagine, like, think for yourselves that you had 10 million people watching your actions on social media daily.
Exactly. It's crazy.
Right? And, like, that's also a very fearful thing, but it's also, like, holy crap, like, I have the power to do so much good.
Exactly.
Right? Mind-blowing.
That's why I get mind blown when I post a video and maybe 50 people see it, and I'm like, oh my god, I've touched all these lives. At least 50 people watch me eat popcorn for a solid 4 minutes.
Hell yeah.
And I apologize. But yeah, no, music wise for me it was just like soundtracks. Had to be.
My favorite album this year was Clairvoyant by The Contortionist.
Oh,
interesting.
It was Contortionist that started as like a very metal band, very loud and unsettling. But then they've gradually chilled out to the point where this album has no screaming stuff, and the album's very relaxed.
nice.
But it's got some of that still interesting instrumental
like
stuff.
unique stuff to like metal instrumental.
Yeah, exactly. And
Cool.
I might have to listen to that.
it's a nice, dreamy, chill out, kind of a bummer album, but it's very good.
Like, I only listen to like a couple songs by The Contortionist just because like I've listened to Quinn play it in the car. Like, I think it's
Like
Language,
Mhm.
yeah, and Primordial Sound, and I think The Source. Just super airy songs, but
Yeah.
they're so relaxed, but they're also like tense songs. Like musically, they're tense, and you can tell that. So that's something I've found that's unique about metal. But it's also cool to see them blend, the stereotypical metal stuff with the laid back, reverb, like filled songs.
Exactly. It's very cool. Okay.
I have so much self-control. I didn't even make one Logan Paul joke. I didn't even make one Logan Paul joke. And you were
Why would
like,
you?
imagine having 10 million people see all your shit on social media.
Come on, man.
I didn't even make one. And I
It's
thought
10
it was-
minutes.
I thought it was 10 minutes. I thought it was so many.
It took 10 minutes.
As soon as I said that, I went for your eyes. I was just locking with you, Quinn.
Unreal.
I mean, technically, you still didn't say anything.
Yeah.
You've just brought it up, which is still good for you.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm proud of you.
You just need to find your zinger.
This is the new Quinn.
No jokes to make here.
No jokes to make here.
Carry on.
No, but fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
Next is the movie of the year. Wow. I want to talk about a couple. Well, I'll give you guys. I want to talk about a top 3, I guess.
Yeah. Do we all have a top 3?
I think I have a top 2 right now.
Actually,
Of
yeah.
all these
my
things,
head,
I saw
I
the
think.
most movies.
Yeah, same.
You guys want to go around?
I saw 30 movies that came out this year. I had a big Facebook post about it. My top 3 were Baby Driver, Logan, and Atomic Blonde.
Good movies.
That's all. John Stern.
Dude, like, that's not fair. Mine's like the same. No, mine's like Baby Driver's number 1, absolutely. Atomic Blonde was 2 for me. Third? I don't know, I really like Disaster Artist. But, like, I don't want to say it's better than Logan, but I seen Logan at, like, the beginning of the year, and when I saw your Facebook post about it, like, yeah, I like Logan this year, I was like, shit, that came out this year, didn't it?
Yeah.
Because it came out super early.
That
but...
movie and Split were the 2 ones that I was like, I have to remind everyone they came out.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Oh my god, Split did too!
Yep.
Holy shit. We seen that together too, didn't we?
It was the
Yeah.
January. It was where horror movies go to die, but it was actually good.
Yeah. Oh man.
What I like about this year is that, like, the 3 movies in my top 3, they're, like, all different. They're all pretty different in terms of, like, genre and aesthetics and everything, but
Yeah.
also, like, Logan's the kind of movie where you're like, well, of course it's up there.
Yeah.
It's like 17 years of Wolverine, and, like, this is, like, the big
This is the
hurrah, like,
culmination of
obviously.
it.
But then number 3 is Atomic Blonde, which is deeply flawed. The story makes no goddamn sense.
Oh yeah.
But it just looks so good.
It's like everything else in it is just so good. It kind of makes it better a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have story there to distract you.
No. You have people standing as light poles. Lamps.
Charlize Theron stars as a lamp.
For me, I would say Baby Driver is the best movie. The movie I like the most. Maybe tied Baby Driver Logan, because, you know, Wolverine was the superhero movie. Right? That whole saga in X-Men was like my first huge interest in film, because I just loved watching the X-Men movies and seeing Hugh Jackman, you know, be Wolverine, because he was such a, you know, strong character. He was good, right? Even when the movies were bad, like, he was good. And it was a desperately beautiful movie too, right? They played it well with Old Man Logan. I was interested to see what they did with that, and I was really surprised at how well it did as an R-rated film.
Yeah.
And, like, Deadpool was great as an R-rated film, but I think Logan's far better when it comes, like, to similarities. It surpasses Deadpool and, like, perfects what they were trying to do with it.
Well, I think in regards to that, it's more of just the fact that, like, with Deadpool, we knew what to expect. We knew what we were getting used to. But now with, like, Wolverine, we've had X amount of movies to be like, oh yeah, no, he just, like, you know, cuts him a little bit and, like, mostly just punches and kicks him. But then this time you just see him, like, straight up cut a dude's arm off. You're like, whoa!
I love that so much about the movie. It's like every time he stabs them, the cameraman freezes over for just enough frames for you to, like, see
Oh yeah.
where each of his 3
just
claws
like,
are in his head or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like it has this crazy thing where through the entire movie, every single time he does it, it like hurts.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah,
You
for sure.
feel it.
You feel every single
Yeah,
one.
it doesn't go away.
No,
Like,
the sound
even-
design in that was just like the sound it makes. Like it's not even like just the squish of just blood. It's like you can hear the adamantium just scrape on the bone. Just and you're like, oh god.
It's gross. But continuing with that, I would say my top 3 would be Baby Driver, Atomic Blonde, and then movie-wise, I would say Wonder Woman over Logan.
Okay.
Because Wonder Woman, for me, was the first superhero movie, even movie in general, that I enjoyed the female lead. And I might sound like a huge misogynist when I say that, but when I saw Gal Gadot become Diana Prince in Wonder Woman, like, I was empowered.
Oh yeah.
Right, like, she was super, super powerful in that role, and I enjoyed seeing that, and it was a breath of fresh air.
Oh yeah, no, she took that role and ran with it.
Yeah,
It was
maybe
great.
I hyped it up because I was propping it up on a pedestal because people are saying, "Oh, this is a beautiful expose of female identity and gender expression and all these liberal ideas." And I went into it with that in my head, and I was like, I really hope this is it. And it was.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it would be my movie of the year, because it did something beyond cinema. And,
That's cool.
it's important to do stuff.
I kind of had the same idea when I saw it, except I was like, oh my god, a DC movie that doesn't suck.
Yeah, there's also that.
Exactly. I went in there being like, God, I hope it doesn't suck. Then I seen it and I was like, man, it didn't.
So my 3 were, let's see, also Baby Driver. I guess there's a nice consensus on Baby Driver,
Yeah.
which is cool.
Such a good
It was
movie.
very
It was
fantastic.
fantastic.
It's just, what's the word? You just you can't not put it there. It's
No.
like unavoidable. But then the other 2 for me are Blade Runner 2049, which I really, really enjoyed.
I regret not seeing it.
Almost similar to Wonder Woman. I liked it was very sci-fi of like, oh, I have some big thoughts now about being human and stuff. And then third for me was Star Wars Episode 8.
No.
Hell yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Welcome to the Star Wars segment. This is gonna take up the next 4 hours of your life. Yeah. Welcome to the Porgs.
We don't need to all share. We don't need to go deep into Star Wars opinions right now if we don't want to.
I liked it too.
I will just share my most recent take on it, which was, after watching it again, it was much better the second time.
Okay. That's good.
I think they ruined Luke Skywalker.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
My opinion personally is that I liked the film, but I'm not gonna solidify anything until I see 9. Because
9
this
will
happened
change it.
before in the 80s when Empire came out. This exact thing happened where everyone was like, "This is Dad? That's so dumb! But they didn't even do anything with Boba Fett!" Like, the exact same thing happened. Like, no, they didn't do anything with Phasma. And like, what? Like, come on!
The nerd rage.
And now that like 6, ever since like episode 6 came out, people look back on 5 and they're like, easily the best film of the original trilogy. I'm not saying Last Jedi is going to be the best in the original trilogy, because I will admit it's not going to be.
Except it is. I mean,
But I will say this has happened before, and I'm not going to solidify any judgment until I see the last one.
what I like is that the movie did ruin Luke, I agree, and it ruined Snoke, and it ruined a lot of stuff, but I like that it did it. I
Yeah.
like the way that it reverses things and
Now see,
makes you think about it all differently.
I like how they just were like, hey, we're gonna build up this one guy, and I feel like it was kind of like they had this Kylo Ren, and they were gonna be like, oh man, like he's the next Darth Vader. He's got the cool mask and everything. And even in the film, they were like, you're just a pussy. You want to be like Darth Vader? You dumb mask. You don't even need it for breathing, silly. And he was just like, damn it, he's right. Like shit. And then he never wears it for the rest of the film.
God, you have a point.
But he actually becomes a villain at the end. He's a good standing villain. He's tried being swayed. It doesn't work.
Exactly.
He becomes a good villain. So then it's just like, oh well shit, now we have Snoke. We don't really need him anymore.
Exactly. Kylo Ren is so
don't
much
need
more
him.
compelling from the beginning.
Absolutely.
Snoke is not even worth building up.
No, and even with like the removal of Snoke, you now make General Hux a hell of a lot more interesting, because he was just blind follower from the beginning.
No, he's got a...
Kylo Ren actually wants to do these things. By rights, Hux should just be like, yeah, no, I'm going to follow Kylo Ren. He actually wants to do it. But he already has a previous notion of just not liking him. So now it's like, you have this general of the army. Is he just going to say, nah?
It's the kids are gonna fight more.
Exactly. That movie should have just been
Because
renamed.
they're both screaming
The
kids.
parents are away.
Yeah.
The children shall play.
That movie, honest to God, should just be renamed like General Hux and the No Good, Very Terrible Bad Day.
Basically.
I don't think they ruined Luke Skywalker. Okay, you go.
I was disappointed with what they did with Luke Skywalker, but I was also disappointed with what they did with Kylo Ren and Emperor Snoke because I really wanted Snoke to be like the baddest of the bad.
Like worse than the Emperor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like the way he died, spoiler alert, was pathetic.
Yeah.
Yes,
Just like
unceremonious.
I wanted him to, you know, go guns blazing
Yeah.
and either be cut down by Kylo Ren to hype him up even more because you know he's a
Be like,
powerful
oh yeah,
character,
he completely overcame him. Yeah.
right? Or I want him to, you know, kill somebody and then have his death, you know, the moral question of, well, he died, but does that, you know, replace this character? Like, does it balance the equation? Right? Like, say, theoretically, he killed Finn
Yeah.
and Rey became, you know, obsessed with revenge because the movie itself dealt a lot more away from absolutes and more in the middle. So, you know, the progression towards the middle.
Yeah, well, I mean, all the trailers were like, she's gonna be the first great Jedi. I'm like, well, I mean, you're
That would be
right.
cool.
The whole film is all about like just absolute gray area. Especially when they go to the they get on the ship and it's just like, let's see what this guy's been doing. He's been selling weapons to the Empire. It's like, oh well, he's a bad guy. Well, looks like he sold some weapons to the Resistance too. Oh shit.
Yeah.
He's not so bad, is he? And it's like,
exactly, yes.
oh shit. So really, where's the line? Like,
Also, story arc with Finn, worst part about the movie.
yeah.
Everyone says that. I have no problem.
I have
I
slight
truly
issues.
hate
My
it.
problem, it's not that, like, the arc in itself isn't bad, necessarily. It's that, like, the story is kind of working, the whole movie always has, like, different arcs going, like, progressing in parallel, and Finn's and Rose's just, even though it had this, technically had the same stakes, it doesn't appear to have the same level of tension and stakes when you cut between, like, Rey and Luke, or the Resistance, like, 2 feet away from the First Order, and then you cut to them partying in the casino. Like, they're all technically part of the same, like, main story.
Yeah.
There's all the same stakes, but like,
there's some sort of disconnect, and I think I know why. It's because you see, I mean, it's Luke Skywalker. Shit just gets way more real when he's on screen because you're like, oh shit, it's Luke friggin' Skywalker. But then you look at Finn and Rose and it's just like, oh, it's just BB-8 got a bunch of coins in him now. I guess.
I
You know what
think there were
Like,
one too many BB-8 saves the day moments in that movie.
There were never
not,
enough.
There were not enough.
Okay. Controversial opinion. Well, I'll double down. I don't think
He
they
is
were
a
on Luke
murderous-
Skywalker. I think he was meant to be flawed because I think he's meant to be a student of the Jedi, not a
Absolutely.
teacher until
Absolutely.
he dies.
See, that's the thing, is that, like, people don't realize.
Spoiler alert, he dies.
Well, yeah, but I feel like with his character arc, people are just like, I think the biggest problem people have with him is the whole, like, he was just gonna, I mean, we're already in spoiler territory, whatever. The biggest problem I have is when people are just like, he was just gonna kill him? Like, right then and there? And then he just stops? That's so dumb. And I'm like, episode 6? He's just gonna kill his dad and he sees a change of heart and he doesn't? He's done this before! Like, come on! But I feel like, even with, like, Luke, I know they got rid of the extended universe stuff and, like, kind of trying to make their own now. But as far as I can see with extended universe, after the war ended, and Luke was just like, I'm gonna have more Jedi now, and we're gonna do this again. He got trained by one dude. Like, debatably 2.
Yeah.
Like, Yoda for, like, a week, maybe. And then, like, Ben for
For a bit.
like 2 days, debatably. So
But like they're the goats, right?
exactly,
They're the goats.
but exactly, they're the best. But like he didn't exactly have a lot of training with them, and maybe he's just really good at being a Jedi anyway. But what I'm saying is that like he doesn't seem like the kind of person, like even in the original movies, where he would be passing on his knowledge and stuff. So I just like to think to myself that like maybe Luke's just really good with the Force, but he's just not that good of a Jedi. So when
Sure,
you know what I mean? So when it comes to the point of like, whatever, like it's not worth it. Like I'm not saying he's just like, I suck at this, I'm out, fuck the Jedi. But I'm saying that like, you know, maybe it's just We just, like, you know, it's time for the Jedi to end. Because he sees himself that there's supposed to be balance in the Force, yes, and he's just like, there's no bad guys left. No, that's it. Right?
What I like about Last Jedi is that it legitimizes a lot of ideas of people who discuss and even defend the Star Wars prequels. You ready?
Oh, yeah.
Are you ready to go?
Oh, I love it.
So,
I'm not.
Are you about to defend the prequels?
I'm about to shed new light on the prequels.
We have to go one commercial break, and then we'll come back with Star Wars Episode 8, the podcast.
It's fine. I'm okay with going down the rabbit hole.
Coming up, moral gray areas.
My notes were actually find a way to transition into Star Wars and do that for the rest of it.
Morally gray areas are justified because the Force is all about balance, and good and bad have to coexist.
So the Force is about balance, the light side, good and bad and stuff. But that doesn't have to be through the Jedi.
No, exactly.
It could just be anybody.
Because the Force is
and
everything.
The Force is everything.
And that's why I feel like when people are like, oh, what the fuck, Ray's parents aren't, like, anyone? I'm like, dude, why can't people just be good with the Force?
Yeah.
Like...
But I think
that's
the way they hype that up a lot. Like,
oh, they
who
did.
are they? And
oh,
then,
yeah,
you know,
no, I will admit, the way they did it was dickish. It was just like...
I think that's how they had to do it. I think that was the best decision of the movie.
In a lot of ways, Episode 8 is a rejection of the ideas of Episode 7.
Absolutely.
Because Episode 7 was the safest Star Wars movie, and just a retreading. Episode 8...
Oh, yeah, Episode 8 was
so
New
many,
Hope 2.
on every level, was just turning
I think
all of that
Episode
around.
8 was New Hope 2.
The biggest win of The Last Jedi over The Force Awakens is that even when Episode 9 comes out, we're still going to be talking about The Last Jedi.
Absolutely.
And even
Absolutely.
when the next Star Wars trilogy starts, we're still going to be talking about The Last Jedi. This movie will never go away.
Okay, I want to
guarantee
do the
it.
prequels
This
thing
movie will
because I said
never
I was
go
going to
away.
do it.
Can we like cut all of the Star Wars talk at like the end? Because
we can like add something in later that we record. Like
like the next
this episode
topic.
we kind of got out ahead
No,
of the Star Wars talk, so I think we're just gonna add that at the end if you're not into that, or if you haven't seen the movie and are ready for So the regular shit for like 20 minutes, and then just like 3 hours of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Anyway, cold open.
Yeah.
Alright, let's go again. On the,
And we're back.
Right, we're gonna tie Episode 8 into the prequels.
Yeah.
And what's good about the prequels.
Yeah.
So, prequels, they're a hot mess. Don't get me wrong. But, there's a thing, they also don't communicate these points really deliberately. They just sort of are, you sort of have to read into it to find it. But, the whole point of the prequels is also that, and it's a whole thing's about Anakin turning bad and the Jedi collapsing, right? Mm-hmm. But it is almost entirely the Jedi's fault because they're bad
Oh,
at what they
absolutely.
do.
Yeah.
And it's an
Absolutely.
entirely visible thing because from the very beginning they take Kid Anakin in and his only concern is like, I want to be a cool hero, but my mom's back on Tatooine and I'm concerned for her because she's a freaking slave for Watto. Mm-hmm. Freaking nose person. But
That
then
was a very good impression.
thank you. But then the Jedi say to him, you have to just ignore that. You have to be a man or something and just ignore all your fears and stuff.
Earthly desires.
Kind of sounds like the current state of the church.
I mean, the Jedi is a religion.
Yikes!
It is.
Hot takes. That's gonna get me in trouble.
Capital Y, yikes.
But continue.
You should catch us up on the state of the church one of these days. That's a serious point. That sounds like a conversation I want to have.
Oh my god.
Okay. I'm not educated like a lot. It's kind of just what I see as a churchgoer and as a person that's kind of questioning their beliefs right now from being raised that way. But it's not where it should be. In a
That's fair.
really short way to put it, it's not where it should be, and we've really hurt ourselves I'd say we started hurting ourselves since the drug wars, so like 1980s.
Okay.
1980s from then on, we weren't great.
I mean, the 90s.
90s was just
That was just
a bad time for everybody.
Yeah. That was just a bad time for everything.
I think we can get Francis on the show and the three of us can kind of jam on it.
Is that your uncle?
What?
Is that your uncle?
No, that's the Pope.
Oh!
I was like, what?
Because your uncle's a Catholic minister, right? Or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, Rob. No names?
Oh, you mean...
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, but he is. So yeah.
Nice. Cool.
Anyway,
Go on about the prequels.
Anyway, midichlorians.
Midichlorians play into this. So in the prequels, they're like, oh, they think Anakin is going to be a great Jedi because they measure space bullshit on him. And people say, oh, that sounds dumb. That's because it is dumb. That's because the Jedi use these bullshit metrics and other stuff to judge who's going to be a good hero and not, their character sort of thing.
Fair.
It's all very interesting.
That's why I really like what they do with Rey's parentage thing. It's just that kind of like retcons midichlorians in itself.
I think that's what they were trying to do, though.
Exactly.
Because they were like, oh, we really frigged up.
Yeah.
We really frigged up.
Because I feel like that's like one way you could do it. It's just like, oh, it's just some random person just got real good with the Force. I'm like, yeah, all right. Like, I would love to see that happen, by the way. Like, side note, I would love, like, just to see a Star Wars movie or just like fucking... Just like either like a rebel or a stormtrooper just out of nowhere, like Force punch, right? like he's in the middle of a battle and like it's because almost always like the Force always comes out as like a natural survival instinct, right? So he's just like and it's just like what the fuck? And that's the whole movie because he's just like holy shit! It's like, I can do this.
It's definitely a skit. It's definitely one of those.
Oh yeah, like I want to see like a comedy version, but like actually have it in Star Wars lore, like Spaceballs.
So I have a way to segue out of Star Wars.
Okay.
It's one of my actual points on my list.
Do
Okay.
it.
One thing I've been very interested in the year 2017 is movies that aren't necessarily, I don't necessarily think are how do I put this?
Shitty.
Well made.
Movies that I think are
Good.
aren't great in like a I don't want to
flawed.
say the objectives because there is no objective. I want to basically say movies that are deeply flawed but do something very interesting and make them worth talking about. In the sense that
okay. So
they're like politically, socially relevant, and they can be like
they can be socially, politically relevant. It can be like this Star Wars thing where we all got our freaking opinions on it.
oh yeah.
So
But
movies
it's like-
that create dialogue.
Exactly. I'm interested in these as my big
I just
movies
like-
rather than movies that are yes, that's a nice frame. This
Yeah. Right.
ticks all the
Yeah.
boxes.
I hear ya.
Because I found there are a lot of them. This year.
I don't have any movies, but I'll let you talk about movies first, and I'll bring up one when you guys are done.
Okay.
Because I have a damn good one.
I would just say I love Baby Driver to pieces, but I would say that is maybe its biggest shortcoming, is that a conversation about Baby Driver is very short.
Absolutely.
I love
I
it.
liked it. Me too.
The soundtrack
Kevin
was
Spacey
great.
was great. Too bad about him.
Yeah. The music
Quinn,
was
hot
good.
takes,
It matched a lot.
Cat.
I agree. It's one of my favorite movies. Even with like Atomic Blonde, it's just like that looked cool.
Yes, it's like
Yeah.
trying to think too hard about that story.
Yeah.
Oh man, those aesthetics.
Yeah, exactly.
Such good aesthetics.
Yeah, it was just vaporwave the movie, just neon everything.
Yeah, me on everything.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting one that made me think this when I saw it. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets.
I haven't seen it.
Haven't seen it.
Haven't seen it?
No.
Because me and Quinn saw it.
Do you remember when? What movie did we see? And we saw the trailer, and I was like, "Do you remember that song?" So, like, just small side note.
Yeah.
When I don't know what movie we saw, but me and Connor got in the car, and I was telling him about like the Valerian trailer, and I was like, "Dude, I know that
It
song."
must have been we saw Baby Driver because it was just the two.
No,
of
it
us.
was. Yeah, because that was what
Yeah.
I was putting on the soundtrack. So we got after seeing Baby Driver, and I got in and I was like, man, there's a song that plays in the Valerian trailer, and I know it, and I know the beat, and I was like, what is it? It's Gangster's Paradise, but it's like fucking super operatic, like you know how like Gangster's Paradise goes, where it's just like dunna 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 dunna, and it just repeats.
Can that be the intro theme?
Just
It's
John
that, but it's like a grand it's a grand orchestral score, and I was like, well, how do I know this song? And I knew it. Like it clicked. I was like, it's fucking Gangster's Paradise. And like I showed Connor the trailer, and like the whole time the music was playing, I was just like quietly like, keep standing in our lives, and the gangsters never die.
Yes, that was great. I
Oh
love that.
my god.
Valerian, like, I get what you're saying about like movies that just go for it. Like Valerian just went for it. They were like, let's just cram all the creative energy that we have. We'll just cram it into this one.
It did
movie.
look super cool.
It did.
It looked cool. It
Like,
feels like it was
creative juices, we could
A
say.
lot of creative juices.
I feel like
It was like
very eye
it
candy
was like
movie.
as dense in terms of like space lore shit. It was like as dense as an entire Star Wars trilogy.
Oh my god.
Like,
Whoa.
It was pretty.
like they
insane.
fly through scenes and like no two aliens look the same. Like it's outrageous.
That's amazing.
Apparently, the director, like Luc Besson, had like a book, like this anthology of all the different species and all their traits and stuff.
And you might be wondering, like, okay, so it's like Atomic Blonde, where it looked great, and Atomic Blonde had that story that wasn't so great, but the story of Valerian was pretty easy to follow. So what about Valerian was this critical flaw that, like, you watch it and you can almost entirely dismiss this movie if main characters are the most important thing to you, because this movie just has the worst main characters.
The one thing, it's the two main characters are fighting against your enjoyment of the entire
Really?
movie.
Oh my
Oh, absolutely.
It's
I feel
like it's like
I
walking
have to see it now.
walking into Disney World with a dysfunctional family. Like you're just like, just let me go on the ride.
It's a perfect description of it.
I only have one movie like that I know of, and it's like some of the original Pirates of the Caribbean films. Because I remember I watched them with my girlfriend, because I haven't really watched them. It's like, I just fucking hate Disney. Jeez, that really hit you, didn't it, Jacob? It really did.
I just want to go on the Epcot Sphere! Fuck!
Yeah.
That won't spike.
Tower of Terror presented by Coca-Cola.
Oh my god.
Oh, I just ruined the mic.
But yeah, like I said, there's a couple movies like that where I feel like the main characters or like the story's just getting in the way of stuff, and the Pirates of the Caribbean movies were like that for me, because I see Jack Sparrow and I'm like, dude, look at his fucking pirate friends are super cool. They're trying to find the ship again and just get into wacky adventures, and Will Turner's just like, we have to find Elizabeth, and I'm like, fucking cares. The pirates are cool.
You're so right.
I'm like,
so
please.
right.
Yeah,
That's why, like, when they came out with like the fourth one after that, like, original trilogy, and they were like, oh no, Will Turner's not gonna be in it. I was like, everyone's like, oh, it's gonna suck, and here I am like, thank God.
Four?
Jesus.
Like he was thrown in there though, like.
Oh, in the last one, no, yeah, there was
But in the fourth one too, wasn't he?
No, he wasn't even in the fourth one
No,
at
the
all.
fourth one they swapped him out for that other guy.
Yeah.
There was another guy that fell in love with a mermaid or something.
Yeah.
Oh
something like
yeah, that was weird.
Which was like, it was still interesting because it was still Jack Sparrow just doing stuff, and then it was just stuff happening on the side of him, and then he just ended up getting in the middle of it.
I like
which is
that
exactly
those
what I was expecting.
Consistent characters in the Pirates of the Caribbean were Jack Sparrow and Hector Barbosa.
Absolutely.
I loved Hector Barbosa
And-
as the foil to Jack Sparrow.
And Gibbs.
And Gibbs.
My guy.
Gibbs
Yeah.
is the man.
Gibbs is
Did
that.
it?
Hairy cheek motherfucker.
Truly the Luigi to Jack
Every
Sparrow's
time.
Mario.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Throwback. Didn't you base a character that you did for a school project off of Gibbs?
No, that wasn't based on. This is appealing to no one.
I know, but it wasn't
thrown in
based
there.
on.
If it's
If it's edited out, it's okay.
It was
I just
based
wanted to
on
make sure.
in the game Spelunky.
Right.
The like default player 2 has like big
blue?
mutton chops
Oh,
and he's
yeah,
got a big
blue
blue
We call them
hat.
chops.
Yeah, I call them chops. I made
Oh,
a character
yeah.
called
I
Chops
always play this.
for a school project about chemistry.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
It was a comic about
Was it the Mole Project?
the Mole
It
Project.
was a comic
Oh, yeah.
about mole.
Nice.
Love it.
6.02 times 10 to the 23rd or something.
That's it.
Oh wow.
3.14
15 265
35.
382.
8979.
Oh my god. Nerds! Get out of my house!
Anyway, back to Star Wars.
No, it's not back to Star Wars. It's back to movies that had a dialogue.
It has movies that were interesting to talk about.
Yeah.
Oh.
Blade Runner had more of that socio-political discussion. points.
Absolutely.
I understand a little bit from the trailer, just because the trailer like threw out like creating humans through this gross method of falling out of a vacuum chute.
Yeah.
So I
That's an
guess
attempt to create a human.
Yeah.
an attempt.
There's a,
Yeah.
I guess you don't want like big spoilers, but like
I don't care. I'm gonna watch the movie if I know
some
what happens.
minor like
way.
themes of the movie is one of them is that at this point the replicants, which are like robot people,
Right.
they used to be slaves that worked off the planet in the first
Yeah.
Blade Runner, but then that ended. But now they have new replicants that are integrated with society, but we're at least told that they have to obey everything that humans say, and that's what makes them okay to have around.
Yeah.
But then now they're no longer slaves, but they're integrated society. But now there's robot racism. Let's just put it that way.
So it kind of sounds
They're an
like
underclass.
the Emancipation Act.
yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
it's very very easy like relationship there.
Oh.
But
yeah,
then there's
it's
a big
really
theme of the movie
interesting.
with that scene with the robot plopping out of the robot is that they're trying but have not yet figured out how to get the replicants to reproduce, because evil Jared Leto thinks that once that happens, then
He will become a god, essentially.
he'll become a god. But then also the replicants then will become greater than humans, because they're asking what things are essential to being human or being life.
Right.
And yeah, I guess a lot of people think that it's the ability to reproduce. So
Man,
that's a theme.
why are we so obsessed with becoming gods? Why are we so
Right?
obsessed with putting power in everybody else's hands except our own?
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand anymore.
Just to see if you can.
I
They
mean,
always
that,
asked
like,
if they could.
Well, that's
but
the
they never
thing.
asked if
It's
they
like,
should.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's exactly that. But that's that's the thing I think it is. It's just like, oh, dude, do you think we can do this? And then it's like, if
Fuck
you
it, let's try.
yeah, like it's not even like if you try, but imagine if you had just like if you could ask somebody like, can we do this? Like some manipulative force is just like, can we do this? And someone's just like, yeah. You'd be like, fuck, what? Really? Shit? Like, because there's people who like, can we do this? And then they try like a million different things until they get to that point where it's like either yes or no. But if you could like find out right off the bat, it's blasphemous, but if God came down right now and was just like, you can time travel. What?
Yeah.
Really? And nothing else. Didn't say how. Didn't say a method. Just like, yeah, you can do it.
That's a cold open.
What? You can do
That
that?
would be so funny.
Can you imagine? Just like,
That'd be pretty 2018.
oh yeah, just like yeah, you can do that.
I've gotten a lot of like a lot of like antics that I think about from imagining life like in its like the most basic sense as a game. Like the first thing that really triggered that for me was one of my friends said, "You know what I hope is at the end of my life I get a score screen."
Same.
That's
oh
like,
my god.
That's like steps taken.
Same.
Times
Oh my
jumped,
god, dude.
Times pooped.
Yeah.
Time spent sleeping.
Rabbits killed.
Time spent. And you can just anything.
Yeah, just like how many bags of chips have I eaten in my life? Like everything.
Objectively bad choices. Oh my god.
So you just want like an analytical report of Quinn Whalen.
Just
how did my first
just like
playthrough go?
just like I wake up at a desk and this dude walks over and there's like a stack of papers like, here's your life, bye. And then I'm like,
That's for nerds.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I would love that. And you'd be thanking yourself like, fuck, thank God they're not counting this anymore. And you can just do whatever you want.
That's like I'm gonna like take it to deep waters here now.
Oh my God.
all right.
Got my vest on.
Yep.
Getting
I got
similar to that, right? Like that score screen,
Yeah.
right? With my background in a denominational like upbringing, we kind of like we think of you die and then you are quote unquote promoted to glory, because
Nice.
my religion is pretty militaristic,
Okay.
right? So you're promoted up to heaven, right? And then like you get there, you basically meet God and all this cool stuff, right? And you get the paradise that was promised to you in scripture, right? But for me, like I've been thinking a lot about like what heaven is and the process of the afterlife. And I think it would be really cool if like you die, you go meet a creator, even if it's not what we as a religion thought it was, but
Just something.
he says yeah, so I know who you are, I know your life, and I know what you did good and what you did wrong, and then you travel with that character for a while and then you go back, kind of like reincarnation.
Yeah.
Something
I see.
similar to that, because I think reincarnation is a beautiful way to think of the world. Like,
Just do it all over again.
just do it all over again. Like,
Yeah.
if you do good, you get a reward. You keep doing good, you get a reward. You do bad, you have consequences. You keep doing bad, you get more consequences. It's like
Exactly.
I like the continuation. I don't like the linear concept of life. Like, you're born this way, you live, you die, you get a reward.
Yeah.
Or a punishment. That's a whole other kettle of fish.
Exactly. Yeah.
I like the linear. I like the circular, cyclical fashion of like life, death, and afterlife.
Ouch. That was the most painful gestures I've ever received.
Yeah. I wanted to say something.
That's fine.
Didn't throw it out there.
So is there any other movies that you guys thought were like had a lot of like dialogue? Because if you don't have one, I have something else that had created a lot of dialogue, and it only happened to me recently, and I kind of want to gush about it, honestly.
Okay.
I can't. You gotta do it.
Kind of deep water.
You gotta
but
do it.
at the same
I'm
time-
ready for the deep
I have
water.
one more I want to say.
Okay, go.
Okay.
But I mean, it's a little weird because only me and you saw it, and I don't really want to spoil it for Connor and Jacob because it's such like an emotionally impactful film.
Oh, what was it?
It Comes at Night.
Oh no.
Oh, I heard you guys
Comes
talk
at
about
Night.
this.
I've heard a
Is
lot about it.
one of the most soul-crushing movies I've ever seen.
Okay, the best way I can describe that film without giving away anything is that it's a horrible movie, but not because it's bad, but because literally just the most horrible things happen in it.
I only have like a small handful of things I'll say about it, which is like it is absolutely extraordinarily made.
Oh yeah.
Like it's like one of the most well-made movies.
Oh,
Cool.
absolutely.
But oh my god, you will not feel a single good thing. It's like
No, you will
there's
walk out of me and Quinn walked out of that theater just crushed.
like
we left. I think we met up with
yeah.
when we left, and she was just like, "You guys okay?" Like she noticed that we were just like
yeah, we were like
quiet, and
just like visibly upset. Like
yeah.
if you've seen S7 with like Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt, like it has that kind of
But like,
What?
but like times 10.
yeah.
What?
Because at least with the 7, you get some sort of closure.
Yeah, there's some closure.
With
there's
this,
like,
it's
there's like
just
that
like-
optimistic line that Morgan Freeman says at the end that like humanity's worth fighting for. Like
Yeah.
But after the expose of
yeah,
despair
Yeah.
before that,
It's like,
like-
it's fun. It's
but
fine.
it comes at night. It comes at night. It breaks all the rules
yeah.
of
From
things
what
I think you can show.
from what I understood about that movie from like a movie review that I watched without spoilers was that like the it isn't necessarily a physical thing, but it's misleading that it could be a physical thing, but it's also a psychological, emotional it.
It's a mixed bag.
Yeah, it really
The title, I will say, causes enough confusion that I would say it's a bad title
Yeah.
because
It's almost like
but
they
it's
made
almost
the
a
movie-
good title because then you go in.
Yeah.
It's like they deliberately gave you the wrong expectations, so you go in this movie
Yeah,
and
that's
are
brilliant.
completely
Yeah.
surprised.
But it's definitely one of those movies where you walk into it and you're like, why? It's almost like one of those movies that they made the movie, they had the ideas, and they did it all out, and they're like, shit, we gotta title it.
And there are just moments that happened that just. I honestly, like, there's some things that, like, you don't, like, in your brain, it's, like, embedded, like, I will never see this happen on TV or, like, in a
Or,
movie.
yeah, you will never see this.
And then it happens, and, like, you're in just as much shock as the character.
Yeah, you're
So
like,
you're just like, no, I didn't think that was even in the rules.
it's not, yeah, it's almost like,
He just ruined everything.
it's almost like one of those, it's not one of those movies where, like, even with, like, Seven, and it's like, you know, it kind of just like, here's some hope, and kind of dangle it away from you every time. It's just like, here's some hope. First 10 minutes, it's just like, nope,
Don't need it.
it's never there again. After a certain point in that film, you're like, fuck, it's not gonna go well from here on out.
It's on Netflix, right?
Yeah, it is.
Is
actually,
it? Oh,
yeah.
I might watch it.
It's definitely one of those movies where you see it and you're like, oh boy, it's not, there's no way this is gonna get any better.
Oh,
No way.
I would say
You lose.
you need a palate cleanser.
You absolutely need one after
Cool.
it. So one of the biggest things that made a dialogue out of me wasn't a movie. It was a game I played literally 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Again, this is why I said going into deep water.
Miss Pac-Man.
No.
No
She thick though.
You're not wrong.
No.
I'm kidding.
It's 2018, John. Get with it.
You're right. Yeah, you're right, Grandpa. We do anal now.
There it is. Want some fries with that?
Pay up.
But one of the games I played was Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus.
Hell yeah.
Now, mind you, just to let you know, this game takes place in a 1960s alternate universe where the Nazis won and they took over the U.S. And, oh boy!
I find that setting really interesting. I think that... Is it based off a book? Because if not,
I don't think
that's
it
some
is.
cheddar right
But,
there.
like, I was playing it and I was like, God damn. Like, so the game pretty much, without giving away, like, big spoilers or whatever, like, most of the game you're in, like, a stolen German U-boat and you go from place to place and you're trying to reignite a revolution in America. Because it's like it's the 60s. It's years after they won.
Yeah.
So the way they won is that instead of the U.S. firing on Japan with Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the Germans fired on New York.
Wow.
Yo.
And that was like, we surrender. That's it. It's over. So this is why I love it and hate it at the same time, because it's very like, oh my god, they really thought this out. And then it's like, oh yeah, it's Wolfenstein. Because like, Hitler's still alive. He's old as hell. He lives on Venus. What? Yeah, so okay, so
For all your listening
they
pleasures, Quinn Whalen, I think, just had a stroke.
He just went full Drew Scanlon, winking white guy.
yeah, just like, oh my god, because
My eyes just went into my brain.
So one of the things I loved was more into that later. The thing I loved about it is that the whole time you're playing the game, it's one of those like shooter games where you run around, you pick up stuff and you read it, little lore bits. But from what I picked up on was the Nazis came into the U.S. The president absolutely was just like, yeah, go ahead, and they named it the new territories of the United States. So they're trying to integrate America under German rule. There's like parades in the streets for like Germany, like the Nazi party's flags are raised everywhere. And all the American people are just comfortable with it now, because it's crazy. Because like there's one part in the game where you're like dressed as like a firefighter and you have like a thing in your hand. You're actually like carrying something for like the resistance or whatever. But there's a small segment where you just walk around and you can't shoot, you can't do anything. You just walk around and like just take in the sights. And I fucking love when games do that.
Yeah.
A lot of people say they hate it because it's just like, whatever, I just want to get to the point. But I love just standing around and listening to people talk. And there's one segment of walking around, mind you, 1960s, like 50s ass diners and just, you know, happy music playing. They were playing, I think it's Long Train Running, that old song. Lone Train Running? I can't remember. Old rock song, but it's like a polka version and it's in German.
What?
Like a lot of the popular rock songs back in the day are like. And like you even pick up notes and stuff saying like, yeah, he's an artist now and all of his music is like okayed by the government, so it's all good. I'm like, what?
Yo.
There's a scene where you walk around and the very first thing you see is German soldiers walking around everywhere, just with a gun in their hand, obviously, because you know, like city guard. There's 2 Ku Klux Klan wizards walking full garb, don't give a shit, just walking down the street, and I was like, oh fuck. Like,
so basically,
what?
The Nazis just like empowered the
well, that's the thing.
groups.
The Nazis showed up and they promoted the Grand Wizards into the government because they were like, these got the right idea. Like shit. And I was like, what? So they show up and like the two KKK members are there and like the German comes up behind him, which is like, isn't this a glorious day in like the motherland? Like, oh yeah, great. And like he's talking to them, and you can even like pick up more stuff saying like how even the KKK is like, yeah, they're a little extreme, but like in the end they're going for, you know, only white people, right? That's what we wanted the whole time.
Wow.
Even they're like, this is kind of fucked, but I mean in the end I guess we're getting what we want. But the two KKK members are just talking to the soldier, and the soldier's like, oh, that's great. How are your German lessons going? Because everyone has to know German now. They're trying to wean out English.
Yeah.
So they're just like, I don't know. He's like, well, what's thank you in German? And then like they're just like and they keep shagging it up. And the soldier just keeps getting mad. And he's just like, you're ruining my mother tongue. And I'm like, I'm gonna go now, like, shit. But there's a lot of stuff in that game where it's just like, these developers, whoever wrote this game was living in 3018. Like, holy shit. Mm-hmm. It was amazing. And, like, you go to, like, New York and you go to, oh, God, where do you go? Louisiana. And you go to the middle of Louisiana and, like, the whole place is just barricaded off. And they're like, all you keep constantly hearing over the radio is, we're doing health checkups. If you come by, we'll give you free food and water. Except, let's be fair, the majority of people living in Louisiana are primarily black, and that's a no. So a lot of the members you pick up, like, before you go, like, hanging out in your U-boat and, like, helping start the resistance are, like, old Black Panther fighters. Wow. And they're all like, fuck yeah, let's go. I'm like, this is amazing. I fucking love how they did this game. It was just super fucking cool, and everything you picked up, you were like, god damn, this is friggin' cool. But yeah, back to Hitler on Venus for Quinn. So, because the Nazis were like, space exploration, bitch, let's go. Because they kind of came into the U.S. and they were like, what's this whole rocket technology thing? And NASA was like, yeah, we're going there, to the moon. And they're like, fuck that, we're going farther, because we're Germany, damn it. So they go to Venus, where, and I shit you not, Hitler, who's old and crusty, is writing a movie and directing a movie about how he saved America by killing B.J. Blazkowicz, the main character of the game. You go there as B.J. Blazkowicz, as disguised as an actor, trying out for the part of B.J. Blazkowicz.
That's sick.
It was fucking amazing.
That's
because
crazy.
You stand there and, like, you have to read off lines, and there's, like, a couple other actors who are, like, really high value, and they're just, like, they read the line off right, and they're just, like, you punch the soldier in the face, you throw him down, you say the line, and then it's just, like, I will impregnate you, Nazi scum. I will rape all of your children. Like, and just reading it really bad, and then going, like, trying to hit the soldier, and then, like, you go in as BJ, and BJ walks in, and he's just, like, he kicks the soldier's knee in and just, like, grabs his gun and, like, shoots him 1,000,000 times in the head, and he's just like, I'm BJ Blazkowicz, I'm here to kill all you motherfucking Nazis. And Hitler's just like, I love it. Hitler's just like, I love it, he's the one.
Wow.
What the
But they
hell?
don't, they absolutely take the time to make fun of Hitler too, which I kind of liked. Like,
I mean,
Hitler walks in, again, he's crusty and old and probably insane now, because he lives on Venus. So he walks in and, like, he pisses himself and, like, coughs up a lung, and then, like, he doesn't like what one of the soldiers says, or he doesn't like what one of the actors says, so he just shoots him in the head. And I was like, fuck me, man, this is super cool. Like, sorry, I'm gushing now. I literally just gushed for, like, 10 minutes about this game, but I fucking loved it. It just had a lot of cool moments where I was just like, woo!
I mean,
It sounded like a wild ride.
Oh, man.
when you think about it, like, those big wars, at the end of it, it was a coin toss,
Oh, absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
Like, it
Once
was
you got to a
heads or tails who was going to shoot the first nuke, right?
Yeah,
When
and-
they were going to shoot the nuke, who were they going to target? Like, it was just flip a
Absolutely.
coin for each decision, right? There
Yeah.
was no, like, gradual scale up to it. It was just like, all right, we hit this point, let's flip a coin,
Yeah, let's go.
right? Like, it was a huge jump to that level.
It
And
was just about whose button was bigger, man.
yeah, really though, it's always about whose button's bigger.
Hellworld, baby. Anyway,
Love
so let's see, where do we go from here?
I have another take on Baby Driver, if you want to talk about Baby
Yeah,
Driver.
let's do it.
Okay,
Oh,
so
God.
I think we should just embrace the subgenre of musical that Edgar Wright created.
Absolutely.
And just have... I mean, obviously not every movie can be synced up to music, because that would... You just saturate everything. But, like,
Absolutely, yeah.
I think we should embrace the subgenre of neo-musical that has, like, maybe, like, story tropes of musicals, like how Kevin Spacey he turns out to be a good guy by the power of love.
Yeah, so someone replied to me saying that Baby Driver was my favorite movie, and they replied saying, oh, I thought Kevin Spacey's change of character at the end was weird. And I was like,
Absolutely
oh,
not.
yeah, I remember it caught me off guard in the moment, but the reason I came up with then, after thinking about it, was looking at Baby Driver as a musical, and musicals have this whole thing of whimsy.
Yeah.
And it's very whimsical for the
whole movie, like
the guy to just totally about face like that and be like, I love you guys, here, I'll help you out.
Yeah, the whole movie if you look at it like from a musical plot standby was absolutely whimsy, just like, I want to get out of this job.
It was a stupid love story.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's entirely unrealistic for the two of them to get along, have that chemistry, and then want to just drive off together.
And their idiot plan of just driving until they die. Like,
well, that was that was the dream back then, dude.
Oh, I guess back then I thought this was like, what time is it?
Well, that's the thing. It's a callback to that, because back in the day it was just like, oh man, I just want to get in a car and drive, baby.
Yeah.
And they just go, and I'm like, oh.
The more I think, like, that opening sequence where Baby just walks through the town, like...
Oh, I love it.
That's great in every way, but I think... Cause it kind of confused me at first, where he's walking through the streets and he keeps bumping into people. But the more I think that, like, Baby's living a musical that these people aren't a part of,
exactly,
the more it makes sense.
Like, he almost, like, gets hit by something, he's like, oh, shit.
Yeah, and just he ducks under two people carrying boards, and I'm like, Jesus, he already hit 6 people, would you cool it on the dance move?
Just for a quick moment, he kind of, like, gets knocked out of it, and then as soon as the beat comes back, he's just right back in it again, and you're like, oh, shit, okay. Can you imagine, though, just, like, looking out your window? Like, imagine if you were, like if you were just, like, living in one of those buildings, and you look out the window, and, like, that's where their base is, like, of operations. So you imagine how many jobs Baby has ran, and goes down to the same coffee shop, gets the same coffee, and then he's probably listening to a different song every time, and you look out the window, you see this just jackass kid knock into, like, 6 people just walking down the street, dancing around, and you're just like, what the fuck?
I love it. I hate that because I watch it. Yeah, and I'm like, that's so sick. Like sometimes, like, I watch that shit and I'm just like, man, I wish I had the confidence to just put headphones in and sunglasses on, and just not give a fuck, dance everywhere I go.
Oh yeah.
But then I'm like, nah, I don't want to be an asshole to everyone around me.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, if we were going, I like the idea of the Neo musical. But if I, like, reduce it, how is it going to be any different from Baby Driver? Like, could we make a Neo musical like John Wick?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we could. But could we make a Neo musical to, like,
what pieces are you going to take?
The thing is, too,
like, pieces are you going to adapt to your thing? Because John Wick isn't whimsical, really.
Yeah.
It doesn't have that thematic sense related to a musical, but you could do the technical very easily.
Yeah. Well, I think the reason it works so well in Baby Driver is that if you take someone who's never seen the trailer, never heard of it, never did anything with it, doesn't even know who Edgar Wright is or anything, from like the first moment, you can tell this is going to be a musical film. I don't know how he did it, but, like, you can tell.
Bell bottoms.
You can tell.
Bell bottoms. I don't know, because, like, a lot of movies start off with, like, a song and then, like, move on to something, and then it's like, oh, cool, I actually seen the song in it. And then immediately after, it's just, like, another song in the background, and another song, and another song, and it's almost like it's never silent. And you feel like, oh my god, it's kind of going to be like a musical, because there's going to be music playing all the time. Also, what I like to add about Baby Driver is that I love the subtle use of songs that have been sampled in newer songs that you know, but it's the original versions. There's, like, most of the songs you hear, like the Harlem Shuffle. Like, you hear the first bit of the Harlem Shuffle, and it's like, oh, is this going to be, like, one of those songs that someone sampled, like, 2 or 3 years ago? Nope, it's just the Harlem Shuffle. You hear, like, the beginning of the next episode, you hear Tequila, and you're like, oh man, it's just the Tequila song. You hear the beginning of the next episode with Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, and it's just the original song, and you're like, oh, shit, okay. And then, like, the one time it actually is, like, because it's like that one scene where they go to see the gangster kids in the car, and they're playing like some rap song, and you're like, oh shit, it's actually there now.
Like, I think the easiest route is to take the same route that I'm pretty sure Edgar Wright took, is that where you let the music write the story. Like, if you wanted to make a Neo like, if we right now we were gonna write a Neo musical in the style of Baby Driver, but have it be different enough, the easiest route to take were just entirely different genres of music.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
You know, you just take like, because genres have their own kind of narrative like narrative tropes in them too. Like you know, like
he uses
country songs that are about being wholesome.
He uses
at
a lot
home.
of like easy listening.
It's like it's like a lot of classics, but like alternative classics, I guess. And
well, I feel like
rock and stuff.
I feel like that's how he gets you in the mood of being a musical that's very whimsical, and because it's most of the songs he plays are like 50s. Early 60s.
Right, yeah.
Like, it's almost like indirect nostalgia, right?
Yeah, where you're just like, you remember a time like, man, the 50s, but the kid has an iPod.
Because you watch the movie, it's like, it's a very polished, very new-looking movie. Mm-hmm. But, like, all these kind of things that aren't, like, the music is directly a part of it, but, like, what music is playing isn't necessarily directly a part of it, but that's where, like, because Edgar Wright loves references and shit and little hidden things, so, like, songs and dialogue, and when they flip through the TV channels and there's like Monsters Inc. and that one movie with John Krasinski, like.
What I'm interested now, what that made me think is, how do you think this Baby Driver style jives with the existing medium of music videos? If you're letting the music write the video scenes,
I think if music videos died, the world would be a better place.
Oh yeah, well,
honestly,
about music
I have
videos.
always.
But it's almost like streaming a bunch of songs into one long music video with the whole movie on top of it. You know?
I have never understood why all musicals aren't basically Baby Driver, where things are queued up to music. Like, whenever I watch a music video, I just get frustrated. Because I'll be with the beat, and then someone will, like, I don't know, close the door, or, like, do a really concise action.
And it's not
with the beat. And I'm like, this would have been so easy. You just tweak it by, like, 2 frames.
It's too good. Holy crap.
It's snowing and raining and winding.
Yeah, it's starting tonight.
Oh no, that's not good.
Yeah.
How far are we in?
We're at an hour 10.
Okay, I had another thing, but we don't need to do it now.
What was it?
It was genres of thing that you really like but can't get into.
What? We had a lot of dead air, so I think we should keep going.
Yeah, we did. And a lot of that Star Wars stuff's gonna get cut.
Okay. So my next thing. We'll do one more thing.
Alright.
It is so the prompt for this is that when I was writing this up, I was watching a lot of StarCraft 2 videos on YouTube, but I did not feel any urge to play StarCraft 2 because it would be too stressful for me, and I know that I would not enjoy playing it as much as I would enjoy watching it.
Okay.
I feel the same way about stealth games. I've tried to play Metal Gear Solid, and I'm just really bad at them.
That's fair.
So, not necessarily video games, if you have another idea, but if you guys want to talk about some genres of things that you really like but cannot get into, actually, participating.
I have like a pretty prime recent example, is that one of my friends is really into the movie Mean Girls. And just
as
really
should be. As she should be.
and she really wanted me to watch it. And then we finally sat down after like a year of being like, oh, we should watch Mean Girls. We finally watched it, and it's a great movie. It actually, I enjoyed it the whole way through. There's not a moment that I was like, ugh, this sucks. Like, every joke lands, it's great. This is just a great film. Yeah. But the whole time I'm so aware that this was not made for me. They did not make this and go, Quinn's gonna love it.
No, they made Baby Driver and said Quinn's gonna love it.
Yeah, that's my one. I'm gonna take that and treasure it for all time. But
absolutely,
you guys can have all the other movies. Mean Girls, it's, I don't know, it's interesting just seeing okay, so this is what people make for other people that aren't me.
Yeah,
because true. Because you only watch films that, well, for the most part, you only watch films that interest you in some way.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. For me, I try to understand a lot of things, and then I'm kind of be it by just I don't have the patience, or just I don't know. There's a couple things that I just can't do, right out the gate. Country, just can't. I'm sorry. I just can't do it.
That's fine.
I like to think I like a lot of different styles of music, but country's just one of those things. As soon as I hear a banjo twang or a guitar twang, and I'm out. You've lost me completely.
I feel like, and you know what? I feel like for country, it's only gotten worse for me as I start to, I start to associate country music with like American conservative values, and it just makes it worse for me.
Yeah,
I'm
you're just like
Country for me is a lot like rap, just in the sense where like if someone was like, hey, do you listen to country or do you listen to rap, I would have to be like, no, because like I don't really know who the main players are in the genre, like
exactly.
But like there's the thing with the genres is that like I feel like I have like a microscope and I'm like, this looks okay, and then I pick up one country album like in a year and then I'll listen to that one. But then for the rest of the genre and like all the like
and it could have been like the most forgettable one, and then you'll be like, I listened to this one, and everyone's like, what?
Or it might be like one of the most basic ones, like, oh look, Johnny Cash's greatest hits. Okay, I'll take this.
Safe bet.
Johnny Cash's greatest hits are probably the pinnacle of country music, though. So.
Yeah, to be fair, it's a safe bet.
Yeah.
But things I would like to get into or like interest me and I just can't do. Man, like, MMOs are just super interesting to me. The fact that people can just sit down and be like, for example, like World of Warcraft, just the story I bet is just amazing. Like, because there are a lot of people who just said, like, lore is just fantastic, it's great. But I honestly can't drive myself to sit down. I sat down once, I had like a little get-together, a couple of my friends, I brought my laptop over and he was like, we're going to play World of Warcraft, and it wasn't the first time I played it, was like the second time, but this was the first time I actually sat down and tried to get through it, and I sat down with him, and he's like level 110, whatever the max level is, and he's been playing it for years, since like vanilla, but I played and I got to like level 12, and we did a couple quests, like mostly starter stuff, and once I got all that finished, I was like, so what do I do now? And he was like, what do you mean? I was just like, what do I do now? Like, do I... Like, I don't have any quests. And he's like, yeah, just go to a town, go find one. And I'm like, oh. And, like, I'll say, like, I'm not a super linear gamer, but at the same time, there's a very harsh disconnect when you're dropped in the middle of Tamriel and Skyrim, and you're just like, you're given sort of a goal, and it's kind of like, but have fun.
Yeah.
And then there's, fuck it, have fun. Because with MMOs, the world was built so big because it needs to feel like it's so big for like hundreds of thousands of players.
Yeah.
But if you're playing like something like Breath of the Wild or like Skyrim, where there's something somewhere, you know what I mean? To like look at or be interesting.
Yeah.
It might be like a little cabin with like a couple little things in it or knickknacks. But with World of Warcraft, it's just the town's that way for 3 miles, and you just go on the path, and there's fucking nothing. Just walk straight forward and go. And I'm sure for the time when it came out in like 2002, 3, early 2000s, I'm sure that was super interesting and cool. But now there's so much more other things that have taken open world and gone with it. Yeah. Like, I think the closest thing to an MMO I play now is Destiny 2. And even then, it's not like pseudo MMO. It's like you go to a hub world where there's a bunch of people, and you can go to like places that take you to levels. That's kind of like a hub world, open world, but for the most part, you're on your own, which is cool. I like that. I like the sense of there's stuff going on, and people are doing other stuff, and you're part of that. But in the end, it doesn't really matter. You can just kind of do your own thing. I find that super cool. Like, there's places in Destiny where you go in and, like, there's no one else there. Like, it completely puts you on your own to where you went, unless you're with, like, a team of people that you joined in yourself. And then you come out, and then there's other people there. I like that aspect, like, of the whole, like, you're not a chosen one hero, you're just a guy doing his job. These are just other guys doing their jobs. I love that idea. I love that shit.
Yeah, that's cool. Love that.
Yeah.
I think for me, something I really like, but just haven't been able to get into, would be like film producing and like camera work and photography.
Okay, just generally.
Yeah. Like,
cool.
I've started to do it, like, think about movies more than just, like, she's hot, let's go see that movie.
That's cool.
Yeah. Right? Or like,
hell yeah, Atomic Blonde.
Yeah, really.
Right?
Or like going to see a Marvel movie because it's going to be action packed and there's going to be cool fight scenes and all that stuff. Right? Like I paid more attention to camera angles and color, even though I'm colorblind, which is a real struggle.
Oh, it is a struggle.
It is a struggle.
2017 was the year of movies with good color.
Yeah, it was. Atomic Blonde was an experience for me. It was weird.
Blade Runner will do that too.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. And like continue with that, it's like camera angles, color, you know, talking about like current issues through this medium, like the movie Get Out, right? Like cinematography using that method to talk about racism and herd mentality and quote unquote slave mentality, right? And I never thought about that before, like a couple years ago, when I realized like, well, like I got to find some sort of job, and then I think, oh, being a film producer would be cool, being a director would be cool, being a screenwriter would be a cool thing to do, right? Something creative and generative that, you know, is artistic and influential. But I just like now, as a university student and a lot of other things going on, I just, you know, I like that stuff, but I haven't been able to do it. And like I'm not famous, so can't make a movie.
Yeah. Yeah, my cousin actually does a lot of like audio work for a lot of big films. She's an audio worker, and crazy. She loves it. She's with like the Guild Writers Association of Canada too.
Wow.
So she loves it. She's like, every time she comes over for Christmas, she always jokes. She's just like after having a couple drinks, she's like, I could literally get a script right now, send it off, and I was like, and if it's good, they'll just give me money. I was like, what? That's not how it works. It's not that easy. She goes, yes, it is.
Wow.
If it's good, they'll just be like, hey, here you go. Here's a budget. And I'm like, fuck you, that's not how it works.
Like, fuck you, it can't be.
I was like, it can't be that easy. Is it?
It can't be. Is it though? I have a draft. No, it isn't.
No, it isn't. This is trash. Yeah, so, well, you know what? Maybe we can do those things. Maybe we can get into those things.
But I think on this film point, it's almost like there is something to just being a fan or an observer of something who goes to understand it a little deeper. Even if you're not, it doesn't make as much sense when you're talking about I guess watching movies or listening to music. But like with the video games, with watching StarCraft, like esports as a whole thing, understanding film technique is that it can deepen your appreciation for it, even if you're not actively going to be doing it yourself.
Absolutely.
Which is neat.
100% agree.
I never got the appeal of spectating sports. I don't get esports. I don't get regular sports. I just don't understand the appeal of watching.
I have betrayed my nerd upbringing.
That's definitely something that like
last year I
just
watched hockey
never
games.
get into it.
I watched hockey playoffs games.
Damn.
Yeah,
My
that's right. Ultimate confession.
Okay, actually, I have to back up a little bit because one of my favorite things to watch is someone who really cares about sports watch sports.
That's great.
That is really fun.
Yeah,
way more fun.
that's great. Because I remember I would go to like one of my friend's house who I used to work with, and he was a huge baseball fan. And he'd be like, let's watch the Jays game. I'm like, all right, whatever. And like baseball's one of those sports where like it's interesting enough. Well, like it drones on, but like to
Baseball's
me,
boring.
but like to me, it's not complicated. It's not like. You see, like, with hockey, it's just like, yeah, he's like, oh, yeah, he shot it, but it was wrong because he was in the wrong spot. Or, like, football, where it's just fucked. With this, it's like, did he hit the ball? Did he hit it far? It's very cut and dry. Like, it's easy to understand from watching it. Even if you know nothing about it. So I watched, like, the game, and he was just getting so into it. And being me, and by being me, I mean being an asshole, the whole time, anytime anything happened in the game, I think it was like Red Sox versus the Jays or something, and I was just like, oh man, that red team's really riling up that blue team there, huh? And I was just, and the whole time he would be like, he wanted to be polite, I guess he knew I wasn't a huge sports fan, so he was just like, well, yeah, it's the Red Sox. I'm like, oh, okay. And then later on, I would just be like, he'd get like a home, he'd hit it into third, and I'd just be like, oh, he got the goal into the third one. just bare minimum. And after a while, he just kind of realized like he's just fucking with me. Because after a while, I came right out. I was like, man, he didn't get the goal in the third inning. the you know, the puck.
They're run out of content.
Yeah, I was like, was that a touchdown on home plate? Like, and he was just like, fuck you, you know. I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know anything. But yeah, it was pretty funny. Well,
I love sports.
well, maybe in the new year we can do things.
Let's become a sports podcast.
New year, new me.
Horrible idea.
You know what? New year, new me. Hashtag.
New year, new me. All right, let's do
New year, new
the
me.
4 things we
Wait.
said we couldn't get into. Let's get into them. And I said 2, so this sucks.
I also said 2, and they're both very inaccessible video games.
Little do you people know, New Year, nude me. But I said nude me.
You did.
Little do you know, we could be naked. You don't know. It's an audio show. That could be like our getting comfortable exercise. You know.
Exactly. Yes.
All of us are naked, so
We
it's
all
like
develop our chemistry.
That's really extreme. You'd think like you do trust falls first.
It's really weird to
It's not just dicks out for the boys as first base. Like
It's really weird to
It's a
talk
safe
about
space.
this as if we're not doing it already.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
I hope that's audible. Just like
the tension.
yeah.
I don't want to do that.
So we'll call that a wrap for today.
a wrap.
Give me that exit line I love so dearly.
This has been the Weekend Fan Club with your boys. You're now a nice chunk closer to your weekend.
A nice hearty chunk.
A nice chunk closer to your weekend, and a nice chunk closer to 2019.
Because we're already looking up, folks.
Get me out of this world, this reality we're living in, please. I must escape.
Phil Collins, help!
No amount of Genesis can save you now.
That's true.